Jang Yuk is an overweight but kind-hearted man who has finally found stability after getting a job as an engineer. Unfortunately, before he can enjoy his new life, he is hospitalized with hepatitis B. Even though the disease cannot spread through the air, almost everyone around him treats him as if he is highly contagious. His parents visit only once and stay far away from him, while his friends and coworkers never come to see him in person, sending only occasional text messages. Even the patients sharing his hospital room become afraid of him and ask the nurses to close the curtains around his bed. Feeling lonely and rejected, Jang Yuk believes that everyone has abandoned him. The only person who treats him with genuine kindness is a cheerful nurse named Daun. Unlike everyone else, she is never afraid to care for him. She jokes with him, comforts him, and even kisses his IV bag for good luck to make him smile. Her warmth slowly changes his outlook, giving him hope during one of the darkest periods of his life. One night, Jang Yuk unexpectedly finds Daun secretly smoking under a staircase in the hospital. Seeing a ring on her finger, he assumes she is married, but she laughs and explains that it is only her graduation ring. She then shares her own struggles, revealing that she is only a temporary contract nurse who works long, exhausting shifts with little job security. The stress has become so overwhelming that she started smoking to cope with it. Their honest conversation is suddenly interrupted when the head nurse catches them. To protect herself, Daun quickly pretends the cigarettes belong to Jang Yuk and scolds him in front of the head nurse before escaping the situation. The following day, she returns to apologize for blaming him and thanks him for silently taking the blame. While talking, she casually eats some of the food from his meal tray, making their friendship feel more natural. Before leaving, she even warns the other patients not to bully him because of his illness, proving once again that she genuinely cares about him. As the days pass, Daun becomes increasingly exhausted because she has quit both coffee and cigarettes. During one of her visits, she is so tired that she accidentally falls asleep beside Jang Yuk's bed. Wanting to repay all the kindness she has showed him, Jang Yuk begins looking after her instead. He leaves her sweet handwritten notes, buys her delicious meals, saves a comfortable place for her to rest whenever she is tired, and quietly wakes her up before anyone notices she has been sleeping during work hours. The two began taking peaceful walks through the hospital corridors, sharing stories about their lives and encouraging each other. Touched by his thoughtfulness, Daun places a cute love sticker on his bandage as a playful thank you. However, because she wants to avoid workplace gossip, she pretends not to know him whenever doctors or other nurses are nearby, keeping their growing friendship a secret. A few days later, Jang Yuk receives wonderful news from his doctor. He is completely recovered and is finally allowed to leave the hospital. Instead of feeling excited, he becomes sad because it means saying goodbye to Daun. On his final evening, he plans to surprise her with flowers to thank her for everything she has done, but she never arrives for her shift. The next day, she is still nowhere to be found, forcing him to leave the hospital feeling disappointed and confused. Later, while having dinner with his friends, they jokingly suggest that Daun might not have been real at all, and that she was simply a hallucination caused by his illness. Jang Yuk refuses to believe them because the memories they shared feel far too real. Determined to find her, he returns to the hospital and searches everywhere but cannot locate her. In desperation, he secretly checks the hospital phone records and carefully tries to remember her phone number. After several failed attempts and nearly getting caught by the head nurse, he finally reaches Daun. She explains that she has been away because she has not been feeling well, not because she wanted to avoid him. Relieved to hear her voice, Jang Yuk finally gathers the courage to confess his feelings. Daun warmly invites him to visit her home, and he immediately drives there in his father's car. At first, the atmosphere between them is slightly awkward, but before long, they begin talking comfortably like close friends. Since she feels lonely, she asks him to stay overnight. The next morning, Jang Yuk quietly helps around her home by changing broken light bulbs and preparing breakfast for her. His thoughtful actions deeply touch Daun, bringing tears to her eyes before she gently kisses him. From that moment on, their relationship blossoms into a loving romance. Jang Yuk constantly finds ways to make her happy by sending meals to the hospital during her shifts and picking her up after work every day. His devotion becomes so obvious that her coworkers begin to envy the attention and affection she receives. One day, he notices that she is no longer wearing her graduation ring, and she sadly tells him that she has lost it. Around the same time, Daun wins a vacation for two to Jeju Island and happily invites Jang Yuk to join her. Excited about their first trip together, the couple goes shopping for matching clothes and prepares to create even more unforgettable memories together. As their relationship becomes more serious, Dawn and Jang Yuk decide to enjoy the vacation she won to Jeju Island. Before the trip, they go shopping for matching couple clothes. Jang Yuk becomes embarrassed when he realizes that the shirt he wants is too small because of his weight. Although it seems like a small moment, it deeply hurts his confidence. Dawn immediately notices his sadness and gently comforts him, making it clear that she loves him for who he is rather than how he looks. On the day of their trip, she surprises him with matching sneakers instead of shirts. The thoughtful gift inspires Jang Yuk to change his lifestyle. He begins jogging every morning, exercising regularly, and gradually loses weight. As the months pass, he becomes healthier, more energetic, and far more confident. The couple eventually moves in together, sharing a peaceful life where Jang Yuk wakes up early every morning to prepare breakfast before heading to work, showing how much he enjoys taking care of Dawn. Everything changes when Jang Yuk receives a promotion from his engineering company. Although the promotion is a reward for his hard work, it requires him to transfer from Incheon to the company's headquarters in Seoul. The new position promises a better future and a higher salary, but it also means he will be living far away from Dawn. While sitting together in the hospital cafeteria, he tells her about the transfer. Dawn smiles and congratulates him because she wants him to succeed, even though she knows the distance will make their relationship much harder. When several nurses enter the cafeteria, Dawn immediately asks him to leave because she still wants to keep their romance a secret from her coworkers. She worries that dating a former patient might create gossip or affect her professional reputation. Determined not to let the distance separate them, Jang Yuk buys a brand new car and spends several hours driving between Seoul and Incheon almost every day just to see Dawn after work. His efforts prove how much he loves her. During one of their dates, he surprises her with a beautiful ring, placing it on her finger as a promise that they will stay together, no matter how difficult life becomes. Dawn is deeply touched by the romantic gesture and believes they are building a future together. However, while his personal life seems happy, his new workplace quickly becomes a source of constant stress. At the Seoul headquarters, Jang Yuk meets Bo Young, another talented engineer who is competing for the same promotion and permanent position. Bo Young is extremely ambitious and sees Jang Yuk as her biggest rival. Instead of working honestly, she constantly looks for opportunities to make him fail. One day, Jang Yuk kindly buys coffee for everyone in the office, including the boss, hoping to create a friendly atmosphere. Before anyone realizes who paid for it, Bo Young distributes all the drinks herself, making it appear as though she was the thoughtful one. The boss praises her while Jang Yuk receives no credit at all. Later, she intentionally gives him a faulty engineering design, so the boss blames him for the mistakes. Feeling exhausted and discouraged, Jang Yuk returns home and vents all of his frustrations to Dawn. Unfortunately, he becomes so focused on complaining about work that he never notices Dawn trying to tell him about her own problems. Eventually, the situation changes when Bo Young presents another engineering design to the boss. After carefully examining it, Jang Yuk discovers that the bridge design contains serious structural flaws that could cause a deadly collapse if it were ever built. He points out every mistake in front of the boss, forcing Bo Young to redesign the entire project from scratch. The boss praises Jang Yuk for his attention to detail, while criticizing Bo Young for her carelessness. Although Jang Yuk finally wins a professional victory, his success comes at a personal cost. His endless commuting between Seoul and Incheon leaves him physically exhausted. Every evening, he falls asleep almost immediately after arriving home, barely speaking to Da-Loon before drifting off. Every morning, Da-Loon has already left for work before he wakes up. Realizing this lifestyle cannot continue, the couple agrees that he should rent an apartment in Seoul and only visit her on weekends, so he can focus on work and rest properly. Meanwhile, Bo Young's own health begins to suffer because of constant overtime and stress. She looks tired and unhealthy after spending countless nights working late. Feeling guilty about exposing her mistakes, Jang Yuk begins helping her finish projects after office hours. The extra time they spend together slowly creates an unexpected friendship. At the same time, Da-Loon becomes increasingly lonely because Jang Yuk repeatedly cancels their weekend plans. She desperately wants to tell him something important, but every conversation is interrupted by his work schedule. After another successful project, Jang Yuk and Bo Young go out to celebrate over dinner. While they are eating together, Da-Loon calls to ask if he is coming to see her. Instead of telling the truth, he lies and claims he is still working late at the office. That single lie becomes the first major crack in their relationship. One evening, after everyone leaves the office, Bo Young suddenly tries to kiss Jang Yuk. Although he briefly hesitates, he immediately realizes he cannot betray Da-Loon and rushes to her apartment instead. When he arrives, he notices that the garbage is still sitting outside her door, and the broken light bulb she asked him to replace weeks earlier is still broken because he forgot about both promises. Da-Loon feels hurt because these small things represent how little attention he has been paying to her. Their conversation quickly turns into a painful argument. During the fight, Da-Loon finally reveals the secret she has been trying to tell him for weeks. She is pregnant with his child. Instead of celebrating, Jang Yuk freezes in shock. His face fills with anxiety because he believes he is not financially or emotionally prepared to become a husband or a father. His reaction deeply wounds Da-Loon, who had hoped the pregnancy would bring them closer together. The following day, Jang Yuk skips work and accompanies Da-Loon to the hospital for a pregnancy checkup. She is overjoyed simply because he is finally by her side. However, throughout the appointment, his phone constantly rings with calls from the office, reminding him of unfinished work and upcoming deadlines. Feeling guilty for distracting him from his career, Da-Loon eventually tells him to return to work. For a short period, Jang Yuk genuinely tries to improve. He leaves the office earlier, checks on Da-Loon regularly, and continues making the long drive between Seoul and Incheon several times each week. Unfortunately, the exhausting schedule causes him to arrive late at work and even fall asleep at his desk. Bo Young warns him that their projects are beginning to suffer because he is distracted. Fearing that he will lose everything he has worked for, Jang Yuk once again throws himself into his career. He resumes staying late at the office with Bo Young while Da-Loon spends more and more evenings alone. During a shopping trip, Dawoon notices that he seems emotionally distant. He complains about the crowded stores, rushes through the outing, and behaves as though spending time with her has become an obligation rather than something he enjoys. When they return to the car, Dawoon confronts him directly, asking whether he is avoiding her. He denies everything, but then accidentally calls her Bo-young instead of Dawoon. That simple mistake completely shatters her trust. Believing he has fallen in love with another woman, Dawoon breaks down in tears. In the heat of the argument, she finally reveals the secret she has been trying to tell him for weeks. She is pregnant with his child. Instead of comforting her, Jang-yuk bitterly replied that he never wanted the baby anyway. His cruel words destroy whatever remained of their relationship. After returning to Seoul, Jang-yuk receives the engagement ring he secretly ordered to propose to Dawoon. Sadly, it arrives too late. Instead of giving it to her, he hides it inside a pencil case at work. As the weeks pass, he spends more and more time with Bo-young, and eventually the friendship between them turns into a romantic relationship. Even after kissing Bo-young, however, Jang-yuk cannot erase Dawoon from his heart. He constantly checks her social media profile and notices she still writes that she loves him. Later, both he and Bo-young fail to receive permanent positions at the company. Feeling disappointed, Jang-yuk decides to return to his old engineering job in Incheon, while Bo-young announces that she plans to continue her education overseas. Around the same time, Jang-yuk notices that Dawoon has updated her profile with a message about Christmas in Jeju Island. Realizing he still loves her more than anyone else, he grabs the engagement ring and races to the airport, determined to win her back before it is too late. Unbeknownst to him, however, the film is about to reveal its biggest twist, that the kind hospital patient he met years ago is another man with the exact same name, and Dawoon has already chosen to build a new life with him instead.